From the Studio 13 Studios in Splendora, Texas, Hank's Think Tank is brought to you by Quadvest.
Quiet on set. Picture is up. All right, roll sound.
Rolling.
Roll cameras.
Cams rolling.
And 3, 2.
Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Hank's Think Tank. Got Mark Hogan on my left.
Howdy, everybody.
And we have the Reverb Cartel in here today. And today's a big day because we're going to interview these guys. Then we're going to retire into the new studio. Keep in mind, this thing's not done yet. We don't have any treatments on the walls. It's like basically singing in a cave, but it's going to be great. And we're going to do a couple of songs and get that stuff, and we'll insert those videos and see how it works out. Anyway, good morning, guys. Good to see you. How y'all doing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well.
Good
Morning.
Great to have you guys here, finally, all of you. Besides just Eric, the guitar player.
And what I wanted to do is give each of you guys an opportunity to introduce yourselves. So we'll start here on my left, and go ahead.
My name's Matthew Day. Originally from the New England area. Grew up listening to classic rock and roll, what is now classic rock and roll in the 70s. And
Sad, isn't it?
yeah, sad. It was so long ago.
Oldies station.
Oldies. God, that's terrifying when you hear
the good station.
hear your favorite songs playing in the grocery store. But family trips, all we ever did was sing along to either to the radio or without the radio, and that's just where I started singing. And just never been formally trained, just enjoyed doing it. Tried to parrot what I hear.
Cool.
Sing and love the.
And so your lead vocals and rhythm guitar.
Rhythm guitar, correct.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
All right.
Greg Sherman, the drummer for the Reverb Cartel, was actually born during the classic rock era, late 70s, so I was a little late to the party there, but
Get out of here.
caught up. But my dad was an oldies kind of guy, so he grew up listening to all that, so I kind of honed in on that and kind of got my start in marching band and jazz band, and just kind of listened to anything and everything I could get my hands on, and kind of took it from there. But really kind of high school jazz band was really kind of where I got my chops on the drum set and all that, and then been playing 30 years ever since.
Cool. So I got two questions for you.
Yeah.
What's the difference between a drummer and a percussionist?
Percussionist is more of the what I call kind of the add-in. So the marimba, the xylophone, they can kind of play everything. A drummer is basically just drum set.
He's on the kit.
Yeah, drum kit. Percussionist just kind of adds flair and flavor to, there can be a crossover. I kind of, have, concert season when football season's not in, you kind of do percussion.
Right.
Because you do concerts and orchestra and that kind of stuff. But not really my forte, but if I need to be, can. But
I think you're born with that in your blood, because when I was a kid, I was always tapping the pencil or tapping on something.
Yeah. And my dad was actually a drummer, so he had sticks around the house, so I kind of picked them up and just started playing with them, and kind of rest is history.
Cool.
Sorry, can you tell them what your nickname was in the high school marching band?
It was white chocolate. Yeah, because it was I went to a show style type high school, and so it was kind of like emulated the black marching college, the black marching bands, the colleges that kind of were the showman kind of shows, and you danced up and down the field, and so I had rhythm, and so that was kind of what they gave me in high school.
It's
So.
not because you were the only white guy in the
And you were sweet.
in the
That was sweet, but yeah.
All right.
All the above, yeah.
And
Hi,
next,
I'm Robbie Espinor. I'm the bass player in the Reverb Cartel, and I grew up listening to music. My grandfather was a drummer. Is that me?
That's you. Right on time.
God, please silent your phone.
That's his grandfather.
Hold on.
Robbie, where are you?
I think it's actually not ringing. There's nobody
You
there.
should answer it. Yeah.
Sorry.
Sitting
That's
there.
okay.
And so I grew up listening to, my grandfather liked a lot of big band, so I always liked a lot of that. I've always had a sweet spot for jazz and the big band music, but also grew up loving the Beatles and the Monkees, and my dad got me a record player when I was like in 1976 and had Beatles records, and I would pretend I was playing the broom. I wanted to be Paul McCartney. So
Yeah,
like
we all
anybody
did.
else.
Yeah.
So that's just, and I actually played guitar for a long time, lead guitar, and then got tired of being a good guitar player in an okay band. I'd rather be an okay bass player in a good band. So that's where
Cool.
I'm at
Is that,
now.
so that's what made you go bass, right?
Yeah, well, a friend asked me to fill in. I just fell in love with it. He was
Wow.
like, just fill in. Our bass player quit. You know our songs. So I just played with the pick, but then just decided to switch fully and just started learning that solo on my guitar stuff.
Well, I've seen you guys at a couple of places like House of Blues and Acadia, and I've noticed that you seem to be having a great time up there playing bass, which is non-stereotypical for the bass player. Usually they're back in the back. You know, John Entwistle, is he really plugged in? I can't tell. But you are amazing, man.
Oh, thank you.
We
awesome.
knew Robbie was good the first time he came in. He started warming up. We're like, whoa.
Yeah,
Wow, yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
Then when I started playing,
Eric,
it's like,
I don't think your mic is on. Let me find out what's going on with that. Hang on. Y'all
Please
continue.
stand by.
he's next in line.
No, I guess he's good. I don't know. Maybe got a bad
Sure.
cable or something. Yeah.
Sure.
No,
It's not on?
you got a button on
Nope.
that thing?
Just go ahead and just pull that one over. There you go.
Okay.
Adapt, overcome.
Yeah. Adapt. Overcome.
Well, it's on my face.
I don't know what happened.
Ready for me?
Yeah. You're good.
My name's Eric Hancock. I'm the guitar player. And I, like the rest of the fellows, grew up listening to music. My mom and dad listened to music all the time, Motown and everything that was going on in the 70s. And then I was in the band in elementary and in high school. I played guitar and drums. And then I moved to Houston when I was 21 in the band I was in. And I played in original bands until I was about 40. And then I took about a 10-year layoff, give or take. Didn't hardly play my guitar at all.
Really?
And then one day I just woke up and I started thinking about it again. I started having the itch, and I thought, am I too old for this? And I was like, no way. Who cares? What's the worst that could happen?
Didn't I hear a story that your wife didn't even know you played, and then
That's
one day
right.
you pulled it out of the closet and she was like, "Oh my God!"
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Now she's as big as
That's cool.
Yeah, she's at every show. My wife.
She's your biggest
Casey,
fan, I can
and,
tell.
Take a picture of every guitar
That's
solo.
cool.
Yeah, it's
Same
she's
one.
a-
So, any formal musical training at all?
Well, I took lessons when I was 16 just for about a year, and then I never took a lesson again until I started this band like 5 years ago. I started taking lessons, and I still do. I take them every week. And
Really? That's
and
awesome.
I've learned so much about the guitar. It's like golf or knowledge. The more
Yeah.
the more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know.
Right.
But playing cover music like we're doing is a challenge, because there's a lot of really good guitar players in these songs that have put all these hours into what they're playing.
Yeah, and it's hard to emulate that sometime.
It
you know?
takes practice.
Well, I'll
Yeah.
tell you what's really cool is they just recently dropped their keyboard, and they haven't missed a beat. In fact, I like it a whole lot better, man.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. We do too. There's a lot of, we're really enjoying it. I mean, if a perfect guy came along, we would probably look at it, but I feel like there's so much more room for the music to breathe, and we can play more dynamically, and as a guitar player I can do more subtle things and you can hear them
I
now.
hadn't missed a
Right.
beat, man. I like it a
there's
lot.
certain
That's cool.
parts of the songs where keyboards are are imminent there, and Eric actually has done a great job just kind of filling in those gaps and just I think it's kind of opened up his playing a little bit too.
Yeah.
Picking the important
That's cool.
parts
Yeah.
and filling them in. So.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, do you guys read music?
I can.
You can? Yeah.
I haven't in a few years.
It's
but-
strange. It's like learning
Yeah.
a different language.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just every time I try to read music, I'm like, that ain't gonna.
And for
that's
drums,
not
there's
happening.
not many drum parts that are actually written out.
Right.
For you. I do have a book of Neil Peart from Rush. I have a book actually of his drum charts written out, and that is like a foreign language.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On page 2.
Tablature.
Yeah.
And I'm real slow at it, but that's even much simplified.
Oh,
version
me
of it.
too, man. And when they invented tablature, when I noticed it way back in early '90s, I was like, "Oh, I can try to do that. Not that I can do it, but I know where to try to do it." Picture.
You know, I heard that tab was invented because of Eddie Van Halen. Because because he played the guitar so weird, so mysteriously, with tapping and all that other stuff. The only way that they could write that out was in tab. And so that's why tab was put together.
Wow.
Yeah, Eddie was pretty smart, man. He has got a lot of stuff under his belt
brilliant.
that unfortunately we lost him,
Oh,
but
yeah, he was definitely one of my heroes.
Yeah.
That was a
yeah,
tough,
for sure.
tough day.
And it sucks because we're starting to lose guitarists that aren't being replaced by great guitarists.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if the art over a period of time is just going to die out.
It's a troubling thought,
Yeah.
But there are guys out there. It's just
There's
the
a
whole
few.
rock scene. I mean, the music business is totally different now than
Oh,
it
yeah.
used to be.
That's for sure.
Well, Hank's a
you know-
big Bonamassa fan, but
Yeah.
he's no young chicken anymore, you know?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just
Joe's
kinda
getting up there.
discovered-
Yeah,
Gary Clark Jr. He's a real good player. There's still some of the older guys out there.
yeah.
I just read that the tour with Def Leppard and Motley Crue maybe was the highest grossing tour, one of the highest grossing tours last year. They made a gazillion billion million dollars.
That's a lot. How many zeros is
that's
that?
a lot of
Yeah.
I mean,
zeros.
it was like
I
almost a
heard that.
gillion.
Well, that's a bunch of money.
Yeah, and good for
Yeah.
them.
You know, and I think it's coming back. You know, I know that they said that vinyl's coming back.
It
And,
is. Yeah.
Yeah, and that basically analog recordings are coming back too. So a lot of stuff's coming back that I think may just come back and stay for a while. Let's hope.
Yeah, I just heard today on the drive up here that they're releasing a Van Halen.
Yeah,
Why can't redoing? On vinyl.
Yeah,
They're
One
redoing
of
the
the
classic albums and remixing
Yeah.
and remastering
Remastering them.
that's cool. Yeah,
But I feel like the guitar has taken there was a point there where it seemed like any kid with a guitar and could learn 3 chords was getting signed to record labels.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's the grunge thing, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I just couldn't get into it. But I feel like there is kids that are going back before that, and they're starting to say, hey, and they're pushing the guitar on a whole different level, but it's fantastic. Some of the tones and the things they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I think
just
there's hope.
amazing.
There's hope for the
finger-picking.
future.
Yeah, at least
there's
people are
still
playing.
people who take advantage of knowledge and want to be good at their instrument and not just play 3 chords.
In the online education, I mean, you can get online.
Oh,
and
it's
find
crazy.
videos,
Yeah.
and I mean, just
I've been watching YouTube videos on how to play the guitar for like 5 years straight, and I bet you I haven't even scratched the surface yet.
Yeah.
There's that many.
There's
I mean,
no
it's crazy.
substitute for a teacher, though,
Yeah.
who can sit there and watch the way you play and figure out if you're doing it something wrong or have some bad habits.
Personalized.
Immediate
Yeah.
feedback,
Can pick
right?
out, like my teacher, Glenn Ackerman. He's a jazz guy, brilliant
Fantastic
jazz
musician.
guy. We used to say there's 3 kinds of mistakes you can make. We added a 4th, but the first one is when you're the only one who knows.
kind of make.
We had
We added a 4th, and I'm going to get to that. The first one is when you make a mistake and you're the only one that knows it. The second one is when you make a mistake and someone in the band knows it. The third one, which is the worst, is when you make a mistake and people
crowd
Everybody
out.
knows it,
But
yeah.
the 4th one we added was you make a mistake and you didn't know it, but my guitar teacher.
Right.
Usually it happens with this. You
Yeah.
don't realize. You think you're sounding real good. No, you're not.
Always makes me sound better.
Yeah.
In my own mind, anyway.
So I want to go back and start over again. So what were who were your musical influences growing up?
Oh, boy.
Who can you say was the reason why you do what you do today?
Oh boy, it's hard to pick just one person.
Yeah, it always is.
I mean, I grew up. I loved James Taylor.
Yeah.
Listening to his stuff.
Awesome,
Just
yeah.
his vocal stuff. Just how sweet and soulful it sounded.
I know.
So many. David Gilmour from Pink
Mm-hmm.
Floyd, big influence on me. Boy, I just went blank. I can't. There's so many out there. Kiss was my very first concert.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't think
Kiss,
look back-
underrated by guys
underrated,
like us. you
underrated.
know?
Put on a great show.
Yeah.
Fantastic rock and
I
roll
saw him at the
band.
rodeo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, great. But boy, Billy Joel, it's a big Elton
Really?
John. Yep,
Yeah.
those are big.
I got to
influences on
scratch
me.
Billy Joel off my list because he's a dick.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, personally, yes. See, I try to separate the artist, the personal artist, from the musician.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of have to do that. I mean, for example, Michael Jackson, for example,
Right.
great music. You know, personally,
Yeah.
something different. But
What about R. Kelly?
well, I was never a fan.
Never
so
a fan
sorry.
either way.
I can't
Yeah,
answer
either
that
way.
question. But yeah, I've always tried to separate. Just try to look at the music purely, and for me, it's just whether if I could sound like them. Music is very personal.
Yeah,
touches you
absolutely.
inside.
Yeah.
And just for me, it's a release. It's just
It's a
having
part of your
fun.
soul, is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the only part I think of your soul that you can express, and other people can see it.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah, it's a
So-
feeling.
Yeah, that's the way I've always seen it. That's the way I've always seen music. Yeah. So, What about you? Who were your musical?
You know,
influences?
it was my jazz instructor in high school. He actually came from Texas Southern University and switched over to my high school and started the jazz band. And he really just kind of opened my eyes, because I was just put it on 104 KRB and listen to whatever music's on the radio. But he really just get your hands on as much music as you can, and you'll never be without a job. And to this day, I'm, like I said, 30 years later, still making money a little bit, but still making money, playing music. But I mean, really just a lot of the kind of fusion jazz drummers back in the day, like Dennis Chambers, Carter Buford, who's drummer with Dave Matthews, but and then really just a lot of jazz, Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa, a lot of that era. Like I said, my dad was a big kind of, he loved Beach Boys and that whole, craze. So just kind of listened to pretty much anything and everything. And then kind of later on, the Led Zeppelins. I wasn't a big, kind of classic rock guy, obviously in the 80s, because I was only in middle school. But kind of
He keeps reminding us of that.
later on, and later on, kind of got more into the. Into the Zeppelins and the Pink Floyds,
right?
And all of
that.
You
know who I think the best drummer is today still?
Who's that?
Anton Fig. Anton Fig is amazing, man. Yeah. He actually has gone off and he's worked with Bonamassa and a couple other bands. But that dude can beat it. Yeah. I'm telling you, he's good.
There's just so many. Yeah. I mean, you can't. It's hard to hone in on one or two, because for being a drummer and trying to actually not make a living, but make money and have fun doing it. Just to play all kind of genres, which I have and been blessed to. So you can't just hone in on one. You got to go jazz and even country. I'm not a country fan, but I can play country. I mean, it's hard, but
well, that works great doing cover songs, which is what we do. We're
right,
playing all different types of genres of music. Yeah.
So you really learn kind of a little bit of everything.
Okay. So, What about you? Who turned you on the most?
Oh God! With growing up as the Beatles, all my cousins and everybody were. Most of the people I grew up with were my dad's cousins. I was the first grandchild on both sides, so their music is what I grew up with. So Yes and Beatles, and like I said, and then I grew up in Lumberton, Texas, and we only had 3 TV channels that were only on from like 9 a.m. to
Lumberton
midnight.
Still only has 3 TV channels.
So they would show the Monkees in the afternoon. And I wanted to be. I thought, well, if I could have 4 friends like that and play music, but music didn't even come till I was like 16. And I saw a movie called Thunder Alley, and it's about this guy, country boy, joins a band, and they become kind of popular. And I thought, well, I want to play guitar, because you could write songs on a guitar, because that's what they did in the movie. And then that just took me, and like I said, played guitar, but I've always secretly loved like the bass and drums. Most of my family plays drums. I have 2 uncles, my grandfather. So I've always loved that. So it was almost natural that when I started playing bass to lock in with the drummer and get a groove going, I just enjoyed it, Like you said, I just kind of sit up there and move around. It sounded good. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm also the guy up there that makes all the ugly faces when something's going. I'm like, sorry.
Do it. Might as well be it.
That's right. Eric, I know that you we had talked last time, and you said the Police were a big influence for you.
Yeah, and I'm thinking back to the first time I thought about wanting to play, learn how to play instruments, and it was one of my first memories. There was this movie they made with the Bee Gees and Peter Frampton. Sergeant Pepper, yeah, and it was largely, a lot of people think it was one of the worst movies ever made. But I remember in that movie there was a scene where the Bee Gees were doing a song, and there was
it was a Sergeant Pepper's ripoff,
And I was like, man, I want to do that. I want to play the drums. That's really cool. And then after that, I remember I was pretty young. We were at my aunt's house in Milwaukee. They have this summer fest every year, big, huge summer or music festival. And I remember that time looking up at the bands they have a rock stage, and I was like, man, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. And then it was kind of in my family a little bit.
Cool.
Learning instruments. No one had really stuck with it past high school, but
yeah.
So
that's a coincidence, because before I sucked on guitar, I sucked on drums.
The only thing I'm good at playing is a stereo.
You're consistent. You're consistent.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, what were your musical influences? You're a pretty good guitar
player.
I'm
big on the Beatles too. In fact, they're my favorite. But I can remember being like 3 or 4 years old and holding my grandmom's hand in Dallas and walking to the car for church, all dressed up. and hearing "I Want to Hold Your Hand," and I thought that's cool. I'm holding her hand. You put that together when you're 3.
Yeah.
And then, but the way they broke so much ground in the 10 years, or really 6, that they were worldwide famous, and evolved and had so much different music, and then of course the Southern rock was a big deal. For me, with the Leonard Skinner in the 70s. The 70s were a really cool time.
Oh, yeah.
Steve
Awesome.
Miller, who was
Yeah.
from Texas, you couldn't put anything on the radio without hearing Steve Miller a couple of times, an hour. Lately, I've been getting into, talk about old school, Johnny Rivers. You guys like Johnny Rivers?
Fantastic.
And he did a lot of cover stuff too, but Rockin' Pneumonia, I mean, who doesn't like that, right? Which, listening to him and getting into him has taken me back to Chuck Berry. And you talk about a ground-breaking guy. I mean, that is the father of rock and roll in my book. And if anybody says any different, I'm going to kick your ass right outside this building here.
Agreed.
In fact, I think the greatest rock and roll song ever written was Maybelline. We can argue with that if you want to, but I mean, just the way it starts. As I was motivating over the hill, I saw Maybelline, a Coupe de Ville, and Cadillac rolling on an open road, but nobody beat my V8 Ford.
Yeah.
Cadillac doing about 95.
Can't get any more American than that.
Yeah, yeah. Fast cars and bad women, So
Poetry.
There's some stories about Chuck Berry.
yeah, there's some stories.
Well, the one of them is when he punched Keith Richards in the face for playing his guitar.
I didn't see the punch, but I saw the argument on a couple of different YouTubes, man.
Keith Richards visited him backstage at his concert, and Chuck Berry left the room for a minute, and he saw that red Gibson 335, I guess, his guitar.
Nice, yeah.
So he picked it up and he's playing it. Chuck Berry comes back into the room.
You don't
says,
pick up
"Hey, give me
another
that."
man's
And he gave him the
guitar.
guitar. As soon as he handed him the guitar, he went, pow! Punched him right in the jaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't touch my guitar.
That's it.
That's
I mean,
one of
he
the
would-
nice stories about Chuck Berry.
Supposedly, he would just tune it to whatever it was tuned to, and then he would tell the band, "Tune to me."
Yeah.
He would
Right.
do it, so he was.
Yeah.
sometimes he
Yeah,
wouldn't
I'm
be
doing it
tuned.
my way. You're going to take the ride or not, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
He and Billy Joel should hang
I
out.
saw an interview with Angus Young, and Angus said that he was inspired by Chuck Berry.
He's
So,
the godfather of
yeah.
rock guitar,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still just, I don't know, it bothers. I guess it's all the electronic music now. You can jump on your computer and you can create something from downloaded tracks, and get on the radio with it. That's happening, and so we're losing the ability to play and actually be a talented individual, I think.
Right.
Yeah,
If you
it
guys are
sucks.
serious about making it, I would say put Maybelline in your set list. That's just me.
Yeah,
Chuck
absolutely.
Berry's not exactly easy to play, though.
No.
No.
He's
Yeah.
got some pretty cool and some pretty difficult stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Gate Mouth Brown, he was emulating horns a lot. A lot of all the double stop
Really?
runs and everything. So
Huh.
And he
Yeah.
did it with 2 fingers.
yeah,
Clarence Gatemouth
crazy.
Brown. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to retire into the big studio and see if we can play some music.
yeah. We're gonna have a little unplugged going on
Yeah.
in the brand new studio, which is kind of still in progress, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean,
we're
it's-
gonna
yeah.
give it a shot.
Yeah, it's like I said. There's no treatments or anything in there. It's like singing in a cave, but it'll be worth it.
Don't say treatments to an old guy.
That's for sure.
It's time for your treatments.
All right, guys. So there you have it. I'm going to go ahead and do the closeout now. Enjoyed having this band in here. We're going to do a whole lot more of this kind of stuff. And as soon as the new studio is ready, you guys are going to be able to see a lot of these unplugged things going on, and maybe some recording sessions going on. And we're going to be hosting some new podcast stuff. So it's going to be great. If you subscribe to the channel, we appreciate you, especially Mark.
Especially me.
I don't care that much, but I just want views. I don't care about subscriptions. But we got some other things coming up in the bucket as well. Unfortunately, it's election season, and so I've got a lot of candidates coming in, and also some of our civic leaders coming in and talk about issues in the county. Look forward to getting that done. For Mark Hogan, I'm Hank Vatt. This is Hank's Think Tank, and we'll catch you in the next one.
last night, pre-flight, 0 hour, 9 a.m. And I'm gonna be high as a kite by then. I miss her so much, I miss my wife. It's lonely out in space on such a tireless flight. It's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find my love man that they got at home. Oh no, 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 I'm a rockin' man, rockin' man, and she's a here alone. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find my love man that they got at home. No, 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 I'm a rockin' man, and she's a here alone. Mars ain't the kind of place to raise your kids. In fact, it's cold as hell, and there's no one there to raise hell. If you did, and all the science I don't understand. It's just my job 5 days a week. Rocket man, rocket man. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown song, whatever you know. Oh, yeah. Will you wreck me, baby? Yeah, wreck me too. Can you move me, honey? Yes, you do. Will you wreck me, baby? Yeah, wreck me too. Will you move me, honey? Yes, you do. Is there anybody in there? Just nod if you can hear me. Is there anyone home? Come on now. I hear you feeling down. I can ease your pain, get you on your feet again. Relax. I need some information first. Just the basic facts. Can you show me where it hurts?